Hey everybody. Today, David Beckham, a case study in inner child programming. I'm not really a sports fan. I don't watch sport, whether live or on TV. But I happened to turn on the David Beckham documentary on Netflix the other day, and I was really drawn in. Nobody in the entire documentary talked about the elephant in the room. And that was that David never actually chose to be a soccer player. That his dad brought him kit, bought him the gear to wear, the ball, the football, everything that he needed to be a soccer player at around, I think, 3 years of age. Very young, very, very young. Now, the reason why I would encourage you to have a look at this documentary is to look at it with a different eye. Because in essence, this is an extreme example of how we get programmed as children. Now, in the last tarot reading, I mentioned that how do you know what you want in life? Often we have passions and ideas that we think are ours. We think that we've chosen them. And so we live them out throughout our lives until generally what happens is we reach a sort of an older age and we suddenly begin to question things about the way we're doing and have run our life. Ije nukoyo bokutoshtastea nekaya sakabaati se te saka atushtanya. Zekika bo utoshtaya neki saka zutea saka ushanyaka. So we're all overlaid with concepts and perceptions from our parents. It's just the way that this works. In the first 7 years, what we see, feel, and hear from those that are closest to us, we absorb like a sponge. We believe them and live as if they were gospel truth. Now, the beauty in watching this program about David Beckham is to greater and lesser degrees, we are all like David Beckham. His dad had certain dreams and hopes that he put onto his son and decided for his son at a very early age what he should be passionate about because it was the dad's passion and not necessarily David. But from what we see in this documentary, he was not given that choice and is like a number of the high-level athletes around the world. They've been propelled there through the actions and through the urging of their parents. So we are all like that. We have different things that we've absorbed. And what happens is this thing, whether that's taking care of others, whether that's being the mediator in the family, whether that's being the sports person in the family, it gets enmeshed in with their lovability, value, and worth. And little kids see their parents like God almost, because everything good comes from our parents. And obviously, sometimes the grandparents and aunts and uncles. So what we know, the food we get, the love we get, the care, the clothing, the holidays, the toys, all come from these adults that we see like gods. So we want to please them. We don't ever have the mind at that early age to say, well, is this really what I want? Is this really what I want to be passionate about? Is this something that I really want to do? And as far as the child's priority list goes, the need to be loved takes precedence in that list. And even though they may not want, say, for example, to play football, their need to be loved is higher. And so they will put the dislike maybe of football and put it beneath the need to be loved. So it gets pushed away. It gets denied what you really feel and want, because the child's need for love is so important. Izotaya maka sute kike seka atuteya na yonini o ka dedeka. Hindea dea tu ka buute te ke tsika adu de adeata. Now, I used to go out with an ex-Catholic priest, and he told me he was from a large Irish family, and he told me that he and his brother, when they were very young, maybe 5 years of age, were told that they were going to be the priests in the family. So he and his brother never actually chose it. They grew up with a mindset that they would be the priest. It became gospel truth. It became an accepted truth. And it's the same for David Beckham in a way, that he was to be a soccer player. And there was no asking whether that's what he wanted in his heart of hearts. And the same with this priest, who in fact entered, I believe, the seminary at around 17 years of age. And off he went on this career that on one level he never actually chose. Ezubatia te aku e ne ete e su ebe etiko uto uste e ne te aba atuka ze te e taku a ane kikeka zute shatsa. So David Beckham's dad is lauded for being such a great mentoring dad in the football that David loved. But did David really love it? I doubt he ever was given the choice to ask. Izebitise, si teo utena, sa otaya, botekika, shandaya zakea atsutse, se ite sa. And so what happened was, as David got older, he was mentored by various other adults. And from the documentary, he was treated quite harshly. And again, we've only got the documentary to go on. But he was treated quite harshly, and even one point traded away from his home team, the team that he'd been with since he was in his 15 years of age. He was traded away without being consulted with. And you can see the grief that he's going through. Now, it appears that he's a little bit OCD now, David Beckham. He's a little bit, OCD. And again, I'm using quite extreme terms here, but it's just to give you an idea. And I think the OCD type of behavior is to try and suppress the emotions that he was never allowed to express, because he could never say no, or else he wouldn't be loved. He couldn't say, well, how about I try this, because he wouldn't be loved. That's how he perceived it. So he had many instances that were relayed in this documentary where he had to put aside his emotions and go and play a game. And yes, he did brilliantly. And yes, he is an incredibly gifted soccer player. But is he a well-rounded human being? When he is on his deathbed, when we're all on our deathbed and we reflect back over our lives, will we also ask, should I have taken another path? Should I have explored this? Did I take the right path in doing that or doing this? So in watching the documentary, it should give you an understanding of how we are all programmed and how the relationship that we have in those first 7 years with those important people in our lives can be repeated over and over, or we draw to us similar people that treat us the same way. Now, on a big picture level, David chose his family. He chose his father and understood that there was a lesson in this relationship. It's entirely possible that the roles have been reversed in other realities, in other lifetimes. And he is now understanding from a different perspective what he may have put others through. So on a level, he understood, his soul understood what he was going to be going through. But it's about asking yourself, is this really what I love? Asking yourself, if no one else's opinion was here, what would I choose to do? Would I like to try something else? So it's a fantastic series to watch. Watch it from the perspective of the inner child programming. And I'd love to hear your comments, your take on it in the comments below. Ezbetikea sute sa ande shtuka, sebetike esa atushtan endi keka, ize tushtea naka, sebe ite zute endea kuka. So have a great day and talk again soon. Bye-bye.